So I'm usually in a state of disarray, so I had a friend help me clean up yesterday, so I didn't make any videos. Ends up being this 300 motor I had was like rebuilt by somebody. Supposedly the old man who had it was rebuilt by him, and then he got sick, and then he passed away. His children got cleaned out the garage. They let the motor sit outside, and I got water in it. So one piston's messed up over there, and two are messed up over here. I got them soaking. I had to beat apart that 455 Buick motor. I just brought it to the machine shop just to try to see what the worst cylinder is like, and you know, does it need to be sleeved or not, or can the whole motor do 30 over, that kind of thing. And same thing with this, but this guy didn't really, you know, he just reused the pistons and re-ringed it. There's a ridge, you know, and it didn't hone out very well anyway, so I'm not worried about it. But I paid $200 for each motor, taking a chance, because I've gotten a lot of motors in the past that were quote-unquote seized, and it should be gone through, but unless your engine has rain in it, it doesn't usually, you know, it doesn't have feelings, you know, when it's sitting, you know. So if it gets a little tiny bit of cylinder, you know, rust on the cylinder walls, doesn't mean that the engine is seized. It's one thing if you have like stuff poured in, like this happened from rain. That's a different story. Anyway, people usually put the crankshaft of this Buick 300 motor, and they'll put it in one of these cars, like my Cutlass, particularly the Buick version. I've heard less people stroking these motors, but I guess it's possible. That being said, it's a little sunny, and my phone's not that great, but I had a crappy connection yesterday. I'm doing the wiring on the car now as I'm waiting for parts for the brakes. So I got a new one of these guys. I had one that was cheap, and it was actually manufactured with the wrong wires in the wrong slots, so I had to flip them. But because I didn't have, I had a friend helping me, I couldn't really film anything. As you can see, I got all this wiring here. So basically the guy who sold me the car, he gave me a fuse box with a bunch of wires on it. So basically I just cut them all, and I extended lengths of wire and put everything where it needs to be. Now there's three power sources on this car. One has power all the time, okay? Another one has power with the key on. The other one has a power with the key on, but when you crank it, there's no power to those accessories. Those three accessories. In fact, this is the old fuse box. You can see how bad this is, and you can see how nothing this is. This is really no big deal. So people get all freaked out with you know, electrical work when it's really not that difficult. So you have all these rusted guys here, but this particular thing here had this green wire that was with the key on, but when you cranked it, it didn't crank. And there's three things here, and those three things, if you look on the other side, are the radio, the air conditioner, and the wiper. It's not a big deal if those things are not hooked up in that way. So basically I left that wire alone. There's three circuits left, the brown wire, the purple wire, and this blue wire. So I rolled them up and left them up there in case I want to run anything. This is how the air conditioning thing was hooked up, and so I put a separate wire for that. Basically these two holes here for this mounting of this new one is actually in the same one but on a diagonal, so I gotta just figure out how to do it. I had to get a couple of new screws because the old screws where the heads were kind of stripped on it anyway. I barely got them out. But you know, you're not talking about brain surgery here. It's just a matter of cutting and stripping and putting some connectors on. Oh, this is another circuit as well. There's a green circuit as well for that goes to this relay, because I didn't have to use the relay because the horn actually worked. That was one of the things that actually worked, because it's not actually going through the fuse box. It's going through the car. I gotta get this new switch for the brakes so the brake lights work. Somebody added in this, I don't know if I said it on an earlier video, but it's frozen. This is for this brake light up here, which I'm probably going to also hook up to a proportioning valve. Still trying to find my proportioning valve that I know I had. I can't find it. So far so good. Everything's working out pretty well. This is the wire for the horn, which was a little flaky. But the other night, I stripped all these wires and I got them going. Not last night, the night before. And I got everything working. And the directionals were working. And the directionals work. They're only working in the back now. But this particular directional signal switch, which is down here, this thing here has a lot of problems with these cars. They went over $100 for the switch, and I think on my 62 I took it off and I cleaned it up and I got it to work again. but it's like I said, it's flaky. It worked at first, just a matter of the switch, possibly corrosion at the plug. It looked a little corrosion from another plug, but not particularly that one. I don't have the key, but I took out the gas tank, waiting for that as well. So I just had a gas can hooked up to it, but I didn't really run it. I just had this plastic line going to a tank. And the wire that was power all the time, I'm making it this heavier wire. It's not 10 gauge. I think it is 10. It's either 10 or 12. I think it's 12. But it was a lot better than the one that was there. That way, if I'm adding anything, I feel better about it. Not that I'll ever have to really add too much, but at least I have the circuits in the fuse box. And basically, what I did with the alternator here, this is the modern alternator. I took the original wire here, which is the blue wire on this. You put the white wire from the alternator and attach it to the blue wire of this connector. That blue wire comes up here, and then I jumped it from there to here. And I could have ran a wire straight to here, but this is all neatly tucked away as it is. I could have used why the video shut off, but anyway, this is I could have used a different color wire, but it is what it is. I don't even know what this relay is really for, but it seems like it needs to be disconnected because it's really related to the alternator and charging system. Not quite sure. Nothing has not worked with this, so I don't know what the deal is, but I might just plug it back in and see what happens as far as where each wire goes. But it looks like all this is a relay that when you turn it on, it just jumps the wire and makes the light go on. So that's all I think this is. It's just really a relay, and it does click like a relay. And the relay always clicks too. There's something issue with it because the battery will die when it's plugged in. I tried unplugging this and the battery still died. So obviously this doesn't need to be plugged in anyway. It's getting power from somewhere. The green wire, I have to look at a wiring diagram to remember how it is. It's a little before my time, even though I messed with all this stuff. I usually don't mess with it because you could just put the same size alternator, modern alternator, and be done with it, and it's a better charge, you know. And it doesn't, you don't need to excite it, you know. It just goes, it just runs. You gotta fix these vacuum ones. These are like a stupid T here that's all ready to fall apart. The car does run good. The blower motor even works. Doesn't work on low speed. It could be the switch. It could be the blower resistor. Something along those lines. A lot of the switches actually work. So, very happy about that. Like this is the wire that... oh, that wire is from the alternator I have. That's why that was a thicker wire. This is not as thick. This comes from the new fuse box. So I taped up the wire that was there already, that had power all the time, and I'm making this wire power all the time, going directly to probably that or the battery, either one. I can put both of them to there. I'm changing the battery cables as well, so that'll be all done. And basically, just about everything works. There is even the lighter works. And the other day it worked, but it was funny. But now it actually gets bright red. It's pretty crazy. I'm curious if, after sitting now, if the switch will work. You know, the directional signal switch. Oh, I have the battery disconnected. Hang on. Battery's probably dead anyway, because I had the key on. Oh yeah, I left it on and it died. But it was, I don't know. I gotta check for constant drain just in case. But it's totally dead now. Yeah, that's interesting. Oh no. Generator. Oh, I touched that with generator wire. It's really not plugged in. That's why it's not working. Anyway, so the battery is plenty charged. Oh, look at it. Now it's working. That's so funny. It was so temporary. Oh, it's not doing the left. Not doing the right. Now it blinks on the outside. And these were both blinking. There's a bad connection within the switch. Come on. There we go. Look at that. It came on. I think the more you use it, the better it'll work. My car's a little funny like that too. Maybe I should just spray electrical contact cleaner or even WD-40 just to loosen up the corrosion or rust, whatever it's on it. Oh, look at that. I can't believe it. This is how it worked the first day. Oh, look at that. Now, of course, I say something. Come on, work. There you go. You gotta yell at it. crazy. The flasher that they give you with this thing, it's so quiet, you barely even hear it. Would have been interesting to hook up a, you know, like a hazard switch, you know, with those 3-prong things. That 63 Buick I had one of those, but they were like dealer, you know, inserted after the fact. So I know how to wire it up without using that kind of switch, or using the whole, you know, factory setup. You could find something, but obviously you need a switch that would work the way you want it to work. But so far so good. The electrical is going to work. Other than the headlight being out, all the lights work. Even the headlight switch works. In that now, even the floor switch works. There's the high beam. The light on the dash even works. As you can see, that's, I don't know if you can see on there. Yeah, there you go. It's on. And like I said, directionals work. They always work in the rear. Right now it's working on the front. So as soon as those lights work on the dashboard, then they work in the front, where that wasn't happening before. So, out of memory, the right one works, left one doesn't. Probably just the bulb on this one, but even if it's not, I'm probably going to take out that switch and fix it up, clean it up, probably work better. Got my drive shaft back. Not sure if I'll put it in today. Got all new U-joints, and reuse the bearing and the hanger bushing. No problem with it. Car only had 73,000 miles, so that's not enough to really do that, but the U-joints are definitely bad. And so far so good. Problems, but like I said, I'm gonna look at the directional signal switch. Maybe it'll improve. Maybe I'll just spray it with something, see if it helps. I'm gonna clean up the rest of the electrical and bolt it in place, and I'm gonna put the drive shaft in. I'm waiting for brakes to come. Got to work overnight for the next couple of nights on Thursday and Friday, so I may have another car to fix on Saturday or Sunday, so I may have to put this on the back burner until next week after today, but I think I should get a decent amount done today. You know, I don't really have to rush, but, you know, it'd be nice to get something done, and eventually I'll work on getting that windshield fixed. It's all rotted here. That's what caused a lot of problems with the electrical system and whatnot. So the windshield's got to come out. That's got to be all rebuilt around there, so that's going to be fun. Done it before though, so I'm confident I can do it again. And that's about it for today, unless I make another video showing it all buttoned up for the electrical part there. Alright, thanks for watching. Box. As you can see, that's the hole that they give you. I drilled another hole there, and this one was like an elongated hole, so you just slide it in. Not sure if I'm going to be able to get the phone to see that. However, it was just basically the same thing, but elongated all the way out, so you could tighten the screw and put it all the way in. I had to grind it all the way to the inside, and I tightened them up, and that looks pretty good. You know, this is the extra wiring. You know, it's just the way it naturally wanted to go. I probably could have flipped it up somehow, but you know, this whole panel is gone, you know, over here. So honestly, like, I could put a piece of black, you know, felt paper or something like that, or vinyl or some kind of thing to kind of cover that up. I just moved that, took out that guy, and I'm going to change it. And at first the temperature light wasn't working. I was jumping it. I found out where the oil is, because there's no oil pressure switch. I'm going to add that in, and the temperature switch was some other aftermarket thing that was totally disconnected. So I put the original one back in, I grounded it, and then after I loosened this screw and the other screw, played with it, and all of a sudden it just started coming on again, because I guess because of the moisture that was back there, there's some rust, but it actually kept consistently coming on. It's just that I dropped a screw and it fell in the hole here, and it went into a whole bunch of rocks, and I tried looking with a magnet, and it's probably buried deeper now, so probably have to get that screw all over again. But other than that, it's going pretty well, I must say. So I just also, this phone is messed up. Let me start another video. So I took out the battery to show you. I drilled a hole here, so I'm going to put a J-hook there and a J-hook here. That'll work out, and be putting a bigger battery in. I got to get a 1/4 inch threaded, just a Phillips head screw that's tapered, so it's flat. And I'm going to get the same one over here because this is over the edge, and I don't want the battery just sitting on that. It's pretty sturdy. I'm going to hook this up eventually. I'm probably just going to go right to this wire. The same thing with there. I was debating whether to put it to this, but these wires here are not usually that big. They're like only 12 gauge. This is 10, so I want to take full advantage of it. So I'll probably do that. Fix the gauges, as you can tell. That guy's in. I got to get a oil pressure gauge still. There is no oil pressure gauge. There's some kind of aftermarket thing that was there, I think, and then they plugged it after they removed it. Something along those lines. So that's about it. And so far, so good. I jumped at the whole... This is basically a whole relay setup just to put the light on, because the way the old alternators were, it works in the opposite way, where it would turn the light on when the car is running, so it turns on the relay, and the relay jumps something to shut the light off, actually. So it's pretty crazy. So bypass that, and I'll probably tape that down, and probably could have used a different color, but put the red wire in. That's the constant power, because I wanted something fatter in case anything else got ran. And so far so good. I still have to find my proportioning valve. It's somewhere, you know, but I'll just probably order one if that's the case, if I can't find it, but shouldn't be too big of a deal. But so far so good. I'm pretty happy with the way things are turning out. And that's it. Thanks for watching.